What's up, folks? Welcome back to On Texas Football. I'm lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers. Pleased to be joined by my good friend, the estimable Jerry Hamilton. We got a lot to get into on the show today. Of course, we'll continue to talk about Sark's comments at the Houston Touchdown Club that got everybody all hyped up. But actually, he said some things that were kind of football related. I know we're talking about the salacious elements of what he said, but there was some football related stuff I want to get to, and I don't think we talk enough about. So we'll dive into that. Shout out to our friends over at Garage Beer. We appreciate them being sponsors of this program. Shout out to our friends over at Prize Picks and Hayes City. We'll tell you more about them coming up later on. Thank you guys for joining us. You know the show belongs to you. Whatever you guys want to talk about, throw it out there. Questions, comments. We'll try to address as many of them as we can. Super chats, jump to the front of the line. You can interrupt the show at any time. Just throw out a super chat. All right, Jerry. I don't know if we've got a chance to talk.
No.
I don't think we've talked since it all went down. So I can't wait to get your take on what happened. I know you gave it obviously earlier on Coffee and Football, but what are your thoughts about Sark taking the shot at a Texas school, okay, in another conference that has a pretty weak schedule and a yellow brick road, if you will, to the college football playoff? It's kind of what Sark was saying. Do you have a problem with it, Sark taking another shot at another program?
No, look, we're in it's peak off season, right? I mean, Lane Kiffin's stirring up Ole Miss, but Sark he was getting his fan base fired up, right? He spoke at the TV Club of Houston, but I was there. It's all Tech. I didn't see one person with an A&M hat on. I didn't see one person with a Texas Tech. I mean, it was all Texas fans. Let's be real. For very much the most part, as far as college fans, outside of who had to be there. And look, though, it's where we're at. It's peak off season right now. I have no problems with that. I thought it brought into some other things though when Cody Campbell said what he said and allowed me to at least ask a question I wanted to ask. I hadn't had an opportunity to truly ask it, and then so it really brought in an opportunity that was in my head for a while. So I don't have any problem with these guys razzing up their fan bases. I think it was probably taken out of context a little bit what Sark was talking about.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. And I love your piece. For those who didn't go check it out, I would advise you to go do it over there on TexasFootball.com. And I believe you can get to it I believe it's free. I believe it still is free. So you can go check it out for yourself, even if you don't have a subscription. But the Kim Kardashian, Nicki Minaj, Serena size, Cardi B size, Megan Thee Stallion size, J-Lo size butt I would encourage you to do so. Go over there because for $3, all right, just for the bargain of a lifetime, you can get a subscription to OnTexasFootball.com. And great work being done over there with Jerry doing great work. And like I said, we'll talk about his piece here in a second. But go check it out for yourself on TexasFootball.com. And like I said, lots of great work being done by Jeff. And we're adding to the team. Got Jordan Scruggs on the team now. Hank South doing a great job. Jeff Howe, as always, doing a great job too. So if you're not a member of the OTF fam, I would encourage you to go check it out for yourself right now. Like I said, it's 3 months for $3. You can't beat that. All right, Jared, tell the folks who didn't get a chance to read it, and I would encourage you to do so. Because you got deeper than everybody else was kind of having fun with the salacious element of all this, and then the social media jabs being taken at each other by the fan bases. But you asked I would say a much more ethical question of Texas Tech as a program, because I said this yesterday. This is about relevance, and good for you, Tech. Like, this is your experiment this unique experiment you got going on down there in West Texas. It's working. Yep. When Clark took a shot at you, maybe it was SMU, but we think it's Tech. When he took a shot at you, him doing that to a team he's not going to play, and that's no longer in the conference he plays in, shows you that you are approaching a level of relevance now that you did not have 2-3 years ago. So it's working. Good for you. All right, so celebrate that. But also now taking that next step, as you've talked about, Jerry, Lisa, as you wrote so, I think, eloquently on the site, it's a new level of responsibility, it feels like, too, if that's what you want to do.
Yeah, well, my thing was, and it's been irking me for a while on this whole Brennan Sorsby thing and look, I've commended Cody Campbell. I jokingly call him Brad Wesley. Y'all know that. I've been commending him. Look, there's nothing wrong with trying to be what Oregon is. Mm-hmm. Nothing wrong with that at all. Nothing. and I think they've done a good job. What I've had just in the back of my mind, I've just had an issue with is the whole Brennan Sorsby, where it's come out, he's admitted he bet on his team. Whether he was a player or not doesn't matter to me. And the thing I've had a real issue with this is, and you guys know my dad coached a long time, so I grew up in that arena, is, Cody Campbell wants to be a voice for college football. Save college athletics. His words, not mine. He was a really good player at Texas Tech. He was a guard that ended up in an NFL training camp. Mm-hmm. You're pretty damn good if you're in an NFL training camp. Let's be real. Obviously, he's gone on to do amazing things in his business world. But my issue, and I'll get to the Tech staff in a second on this too, my issue is, how can you sit there and say you want to be a voice and have that voice and save college athletics, but you aren't doing the simplest thing that needs to be done with your voice? And I said it, and I asked him a question on X, and I knew he wouldn't respond, or maybe he will one day. But you had how many speeches in your career from high school and college coaches? How many position meeting rooms? How many times were you talked to as a player? And one thing I can guarantee was never said to him was, it's okay to bet on your own team. Because everybody that plays team sports knows that's the big no-no.
Yep.
And that your guy has admitted it. So if you want to be a voice for college sports and you want to save college athletics, if you want that to be part of who you are, then you need to declare on this issue. You need to declare, because Tech will still be a good team without him. They got the best roster in the Big 12 without Brennan Sorsby. But you need to declare. If you can't declare on this issue, then why should anybody listen to you about anything else? This is the fabric of team sports. And if you're battling against the fabric of team sports, why should anybody listen to you? Period. And the Texas Tech staff, and I know some of these guys. Joey McGuire has always been great to me. I love Joey McGuire. And I know their hands may be a little tied. But how many speeches have all these guys, because there's former high school head coaches on that staff, former head coaches on that staff, how many speeches, or position coaches or coordinators, how many speeches have they given teams, players? How many recruiting in-home visits and calls have they made to parents, to players, prospects? How many times in those thousands of speeches and phone calls have they ever told a kid or their player, it's okay if you bet on the team you play on? I have the answer, zero. And y'all need to declare. All of y'all need to declare. It's the fabric of team sports, man. It's bigger than anything else. They have a chance to declare and say, this absolutely cannot happen. You cannot bet on a team you're on, period. Doesn't matter if he's your starting quarterback or not. And so Tech fans went at me, and I told them, I said on X, I said, dude, this isn't about Texas Tech. It's not about Texas. This is about the fabric of team sports. And my dad coach, Rob, I grew up with this stuff.
Yes, sir.
I've never in my life heard any coach ever say it's okay to bet on your team. So I'm challenging those guys to declare for the better of sports, of team sports. Declare. If you say it's okay now, fine. But then nobody should ever listen to you ever again about anything you say. But I guarantee you this. It goes against everything they've ever said or heard as athletes. And these guys have kids. By the way, here, some are D1 athletes. Some were D1 athletes. I guarantee you they never said to their child who was an athlete in the team sport, it's okay for you to bet on your team. Guaranteed. So, you know what? You should declare. That's what I come out on this. Otherwise, BS, nobody should ever listen to any of your recruiting pitches again or any of your coach speeches again. Cody Campbell wants to save college athletics. You have a chance to start that right now. If you're unwilling to do it, why should anybody listen to you ever? Except about oil.
No, but it's interesting that, because I agree with you. They might be asked that question straight up by someone in the media, like, "Hey, do you think it's okay that he bet on his own team?" Because there's some. It seems like some gray area here between now mainstream gambling. Period. I mean, the president was asked about it. He said the world's a bit of a casino right now. All right, so the poly markets mean you can bet on everything, but mainstream sports betting and mainstream sports gambling. And now athletes betting on sports. But there's, like you said, there's never been, I think, any confusion about betting on your own team.
Never.
Like, never. You know, never, and it shouldn't be. Honestly, I thought betting has always been off limits to pro athletes and athletes at a certain level. But I know that now with mainstream betting and it being at your fingertips on this thing, that totally changes the conversation. So I get why now you've seen there's kind of different ways they're going to regulate it. But yeah, betting on your own team always been a violation of the highest order. Like, it's always been, I don't care what level you play it on, like that's considered the violation of the highest order. It is.
Yeah. So Eric gets asked, and I probably should have been said that differently. What are they to declare? I want them to come out and say they're 100% against this, no matter what it means for their team, or declare the other way. We're okay with it now. They need to declare something. They don't need to, if all these guys sit on the sidelines on this, if they can't come out and talk about what they've always told all of their players, probably their kids who are athletes, any speech you've ever heard as a former college athlete and now college coaches, if they can't come out and say this is not okay, no matter what it means for our team, because they'll still be damn good, even if Sorsby doesn't play. They have a really good roster. But if they can't come out and declare on it, why should anybody ever listen to anything they ever have to say again? Because it is the fabric of sports, of team sports. That's where I come out.
It's a great take, and because nobody's really started talking about that direct question that Tech needs to address. They'll probably say, because I think now you're right, it's gaining some steam, and they'll have to go to, you got the meetings coming up, and then you got SEC Media Days where he's got to address the media. And I think someone asked him, and they'll probably say, we're against it. All right, we're against him betting on his own team and, betting on sports. That's why he went to rehab. And then they'll talk about rehab being about redemption. Mm-hmm. And so we're about redemption for this young man. We all make mistakes. You'll get that. I'm just telling you because I know. All right. I know. I studied. He said, we all make mistakes. Have you made a mistake? He's making mistakes. And we're going through, they're going to say through the legal system or whatever. And they're going to try to get him, a chance at redemption. Try to right the wrongs. I can tell you, if they address it, that's how they probably should address it. But that's how they will address it because they'll hire the right people to tell them that. That's how a politician would address it. And that's actually not giving you a direct answer, but it's telling you
that goes against everything.
It is.
They've ever said to their teams, ever. Like if those guys found out. If those guys were coaching high school and they found out their number one wide receiver is giving the playbook to their rival, they kick the guy off the team. He's pretty much betting on the game at that point. Like if they're in the high school version of it, they'd kick that guy off in a second.
Yep. You're right. And like I said, that's never been, I know there was some recent discussion that the NCAA just released their guidelines on betting a few years ago. So maybe before then, the regulation was a little too late. And maybe some guys, there was some misunderstandings and some guys didn't understand the rules because there weren't necessarily concrete rules. They weren't clarified. But I agree with you. I don't care what locker room you've been in, betting on your own team.
No. Never acceptable.
It's never.
Pete Rose is.
That's just one thing. That's what
he passed away recently and was never in the Hall of Fame. He was never allowed back into baseball. That is how highly that is thought of about betting on your own team. And it doesn't matter if you're the fifth string running back, the third team long snapper, the number 7 wide receiver, any of it. Doesn't matter. And that's just the one thing in sports. We can't compromise that. We can't. Because if you ever start compromising that, then what do fans even care at that point? If they can't believe anything is real, you think that's good for sports? You think that's good for fans? Come on.
No, I'm with you. No, I agree with you 100%. I think you're right.
Hey, by the way, and I'm not sitting up here on the top of some perfect mountain. I want to say that none of us are perfect human beings, and I sure as hell am not. So I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is somebody that grew up in coaching, with a coaching father, and grew up around all this stuff, I 100% know what all these guys have always said. And I 100% know what they've always heard. And I 100% know that growing up and in coaching and as a college player, that is the one thing you cannot compromise. And that's not about me wanting to hurt Texas Tech at all, because I told people I still think they'll be very good. It's not about Texas Tech. But if Cody Campbell wants to be the voice and save college athletics, well, here's your chance to start, dude.
We know Texas Tech is still going to be good because even with the news, their win total dropped from 11 to 10. With the Sorsby news and with the expectation that he's not going to play.
They're still a favorite in the Big 12.
To win double-digit games. Most teams around the country, it projects you to lose their starting quarterback for the season. It's probably going to be more than one loss of an impact. But for them, I was looking at, I think it was FanDuel and Yahoo Sports actually had this column. They said that because of the health uncertainty of Will Hammond, who's the backup, that Sorsby's value is closer to 3.5 to 4 points. They kind of throw it out there per kind of matchup, like not even necessarily a full touchdown because they like Will Hammond. If you talk about the guys who actually, set the win totals and the lines, they like Will Hammond and they like Tech and they like that schedule. Pretty much. That's what it tells you. They like that schedule because even without Sorsby and Will Hammond dealing with coming back from an ACL injury, they still got them winning double-digit games. Yep. They're like, nah, they still gonna be pretty damn good in the Big 12. So, but that's what I love about Sark. He doesn't realize he offended the entire Big 12. He knows that. He's smart enough to know it wasn't just a jab at Texas Tech. If it was at Tech, maybe it was at SMU. So shout out to y'all. But I think most people thought it was at Tech, but the whole Big 12 got upset when you start looking on social media. Everybody, K-State fans. And Iowa State fans, Oklahoma State fans came out of woodworks and they started taking up for Tech. And then I was like, oh, interesting. So the whole Big 12 was offended. So now you add to the list of the entities, organizations, programs that Sark has kind of taken a shot at this offseason that's offended. You got Ole Miss on that list. Don't forget in that article, they also talk about Ole Miss and basketball. Even he took a shot at Cristobal in Miami too. Don't forget, and Cristobal had to respond to it, so he got them on the list. NCAA took a shot at them. The College Football Playoff Committee, boom, they on the list too. And you keep adding more and more teams to the list, and of course now you got Texas Tech added to that list too, and Big 12. So the whole Big 12 man. So it's about 7-8. Groups right now that feel offended by Sark. Even with his academic comments, he's kind of taking a shot at everybody who has kind of subpar academic standards, which is like half of major college football. So he's just been taking shots at a lot of folks this offseason, man.
Hey, Rod, and I told Bobby, and we talked about it briefly this morning, but this is setting up to be one of the most entertaining SEC spring meetings next week of all time.
I agree.
Because it's going to be playoff-centered talk, right? But you have Sark and you have Lane, and Lane really went big on Ole Miss in the Vanity Fair article, right? Yep. So there's a number of people that are fired up. And then you have Will Wade at LSU in basketball and what the type of roster he's attempting to build, and half his roster is going to be tied up in injunction hearings. But he ain't very popular with the SEC basketball coaches right now. I can tell you that right now. In fact, he may be as disliked as any coach I remember in college basketball right now.
Oh, man. It's a lot of beef.
It's going to be crazy.
Yeah, a lot of beef in the SEC right now.
Yes.
It's going to be fun to follow. All right, before we get to some questions, let's thank our sponsors. First thing, our friends over at Garage Beer. We appreciate them. It is Friday, and no better way to get the weekend started than to do it with Garage Beer. Our friends over at Garage Beer, they make it easy for you. They're not trying to impress you by telling you about all their fancy ingredients or about their secret, very secretive, clandestine brewing techniques or anything like that. Not even with their rich history. No, they know what matters to you is about how it tastes. All right. And if it's light beer and it's 95 calories, so you won't get lighter than that. Also crisp, refreshing, and it tastes fantastic. I'm a fan of the just the original Garage Beer, but they also have it in lime as well. So you can find it anywhere really that you buy your groceries or anything like that. I've seen Garage Beer in more and more places. So the word is getting out about the great product over at Garage Beer. Remember, the garage is always open. Anytime you're getting together with family and friends, don't forget your Garage Beer. Since we're talking about our sponsors, also let's thank our friends over at Prize Picks. We appreciate them as well. And you will too. If you're not picking with Prize Picks, you're doing yourself a disservice. Our friends over at Prize Picks, they make it really, really easy for you. That's the thing about it. It's so easy at your fingertips. And whatever you're into, my friends over at Prize Picks, they make it right there. They make it easy for you. They make it more entertaining as well. You pick it more or less on player stats. You build your lineup, you submit it, and you're good. It takes minutes. If you want to do some deep dives, you can do that, or you can wing it. You can go with your gut. Any sport you're really into, you can pick that sport, or say your favorite player on your favorite team is really hot and they're rolling. You actually can mix and match that across different sports: basketball, baseball, hockey, golf, whatever you're into. That's the beauty of our friends at Prize Picks. You can kind of make it whatever you want to, and that's what I love about it. It's available in all 50 states, including right here in the great state of Texas. So if you haven't jumped in yet, now is a great time to do it. Download the app, use the code HMA. That's HMA. Play $5, and they'll give you $50 in lineups instantly. Can't beat that deal. Download the app, use the code HMA, play $5, and they'll give you $50 in lineups instantly. All right, instantly. HMA. 5 gets you 50. Simple. As always, play smart, play responsibly, and play Prize Picks. Thank you very much to our friends over at Prize Picks for sponsoring our Friday live stream. All right, let's get to some questions here. How about this one from Nacho Avenger? Who is in Sark's crosshairs today? Yeah, I don't know. Is anybody else going to get a shot from Sark? So he's got a list of like 6, 7 groups that he's offended this offseason. Do we think he's done?
I think he's done till next week. Yeah.
Well, till next week. You think? Hold on, I'm talking about the entire offseason. You think somebody's gonna catch more strays from Sark this offseason? Do we think?
Well, you know what's interesting is the timing of everything. The SEC media days kind of butt up close to Texas high school coaching school when all those guys will be in the same place.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, the crazy thing about the Texas high school coaches. Texas high school coaches show, Texas high school coaching school, is all your in-state coaches make appearances. Lane Kiffin will probably make an appearance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ryan Day makes appearances. I wouldn't shock me if Marcus Freeman didn't show up as much as he's recruiting the state of Texas, but they're all going to be in the same area. And they may all be talking. They normally have like a round table of college coaches where they all the head coaches sit together.
Oh, wow!
That may be interesting.
Oh, Joey McGuire would be there. Fantastic. That'd be great. Yeah. And we get a picture of him and Sark just near each other.
I guarantee they won't sit them next to each other.
I want to feel the tension. I want to be like one of those Real Housewives reunions, man. Like CJ said, we got to start milking these things for everything they're worth. So I want somebody like Andy Cohen to moderate it. I want the receipts, bring up the quotes. I want to put them up on the screen and be like, Sark, remember you said this about Ole Miss basket weaving coming here. I want to put it out there. Let's go.
That's a great. Andy Cohen should be the host of this. It's like a reunion for sure.
Right? I mean, let's get the dirt out there, man. No, it's like I said, it's really. I'm happy.
Dave Randall will sit back and not say a word softly.
Yes, right. Dave Randall did not want to get involved with that. He's way too spiritual and classy. He's not going to do it. I like Dave Randall. I'm a big Dave Randall fan, actually. But no, I think right now for us, it's good. I don't know if Sark. I know Sark's confident. Like I know this is what I think. This is just him being really, really confident because he knows And he talked about how, you got to kind of embrace the hate. Like Texas is going to get it regardless. And now I think he's unfiltered a bit just because he knows his team is really good. I think he's ready for the smoke. So that's why I'm enjoying it. Also, our business is content, and Sark's giving us tons of great content in the offseason here. Just floating us through the offseason. Usually we got to come up with stuff, and nope, Sark's just giving us lots of great content. So God bless that man. God bless Sark. All right, let's get back to it here. How about this one from Yes OU Sucks? It says, hey guys, did Sark's comments about Arch refining his short and intermediate throwing skills mean that the power running back room will see more screen and swing pass plays this year?
Love the question.
That's a great question. I'm glad we get, because he did talk football there.
All the great things he said in the media press conference have kind of been missed, and that's why I put out. It's not why, but I put out the tweet I did on Germaine Bishop with Rod. I want your thoughts on that because I haven't talked to you about that. But the two things that I thought Sark said, three, because he talked about injuries and everybody's on track. There's been no setbacks with anybody that missed the spring, which I thought was huge for the team. And then Germaine Bishop, which we'll get to next because I want your thoughts on that, Rod. But a lot of people want to talk about Arch's the toughness, that comment, which is a great comment. But I want to talk about this because nobody's really talked about this enough. When Sark says Arch has cleaned up his fundamentals, which should help him in the short and intermediate game, that's a pretty major statement if that carries over, because that is how the Texas team could maximize. If he makes those improvements, those more catchable balls, and the wide receivers drop rates lower, those two things have to come together. Then you can get, if Arches in Texas offense completes 67.5% of passes next year, they become a double dangerous offensive team. If they improve by 5-6% in completion percentage, Rod, that is a very major thing for me.
Yeah, and I think it's realistic to me. It's reasonable. Because if you account for the drops for Arch, I want to say his completion percentage will improve from, I think it's at 61% this year. If you account for the drops, and obviously you're going to have drops. So
but that percentage needs to come down, right? That's the thing.
Yeah, exactly. Both of those, his accuracy needs to improve. And the drops need to improve. If that happens, he would have been at 64.9% last year, if accounting for the drops. I'm with you. I think because that's what Quinn was really good at, right? Quinn was naturally great in the ball placement area, the accuracy in the short the short quick game. Like he was really, and that's a lot of Sark's offense with the RPO game and a lot of the swing screens you're talking about, those swing passes and the screen passes, and the big part of the screen game is putting the ball in the right place so that you have the catch and run ability. If the guy's got to, go too far out of his way to catch it, just that half a second, that could be everything in the screen.
It needs to be below from the waist to the bottom of the numbers in stride.
Exactly.
95% of the time.
And for the quarterback, sometimes you're under duress because literally that's the linemen are letting defensive linemen come. So you got guys in your face, and you still got to be able to get your feet right and put the ball in the money. And that's a big part of Sark's offense. So if he's saying he's improving there, and I agree with Jerry, this is one of the comments that got me excited. I thought, ooh-wee. Because what Arch always impresses is the downfield throws and the downfield accuracy, what they call the NFL throws. I actually have said he's not naturally an accurate quarterback on this short, quick game. Like, I don't think he's naturally, and it's probably to do with his footwork and probably to do with a lot of that, like just a lot of those things, like the mechanics of throwing. So if he's refined that and gotten better at that short, quick game part of it, oh man, because his ability to work the pocket and buy time and deliver downfield accurately, I think I've seen that enough on film in the last couple of years. What he has struggled with a little bit is the accuracy on some of the quick throws and some of the screen and swing passes and the one down the field area that he does struggle with is the crossing route.
Yeah.
He has not, and I saw improvement on it last year, but that's something he ain't now, and that's a big part of Sark's offense too.
Yeah,
on the crossing routes.
One of the things I noticed with that is his eyes adjusted, but the hips didn't follow the eyes.
Okay.
That's one of the things I noticed, and I'm sure. Look, if I notice that, I ain't very good at this compared to the other people in the people in his family that are Hall of Famers.
Yeah,
And the guy he works with at QB Country does a great job. So I think his eyes were seeing it, and the feet and the hips did not follow. And some people say, "Hey, it's because he was injured." Maybe a little bit of it, but I think you're going to see with experience, and because players still have to develop. I don't care if had been sitting there 2 years developing. Once you get in the game, it's totally different, especially as the walls were closing in a duress he played under. So I think he'll be improved in that area, and I think that will open up more red zone possibilities that weren't there last year, right, Rod? I mean, like the play against Ohio State where he threw the ball at Wingo's feet, which would have been a 10, 12, 14-yard gain on a shallow cross.
Yeah.
Those plays have to be made to take the next step in the red zone this year as a quarterback.
Totally agree. Yeah. And like I said, that's where he's kind of struggled with consistently. I've seen him struggle with those crossing routes. If he gets better at that, that's a great point though, Jerry, about the hips not following the eyes, like maybe locking the hips and still trying to throw crossing routes.
He was too open with his hips pointing the wrong way. They didn't follow his eyes last year. I noticed that like 5, 6, 7 times.
Okay. That's a good point. All right. Thank you. Yes. OU sucks. Yes. And that was a great comment there by Sark about him starting to refine his mechanics a little bit. And I think it will make him a more accurate quarterback. Doug here with a question says, "Hey, Jerry, any recruiting nuggets? Any possible?"
Yeah. We're not expecting anything in the next few days. Could that change? Always. It's recruiting, right? But I think Texas is right now is positioning themselves for the June OVs, which is not far away. Look, next weekend's a big official visit weekend around the country for your Georgias. I think Ohio State, SM players. A lot of people start that late last weekend in May as first OV big weekend for schools. Texas does not do that. They're the 5th, 7th, 12th, 14th, 19th, 21st. Right now, I think Texas is positioning themselves for those OV weekends. I think that's really where they're out. Finish the week on the road. A lot of people get out of school today that weren't already out of school, high school wise. So made some of those big trips. I thought Will Muschamp spending hours at Choctaw with Israel Hammonds. I try to tell people, like, hey, don't sleep on this guy. Don't look at his ranking. Will Muschamp, defensive staff, loved this guy. Well, then Muschamp was up at Choctaw, Oklahoma this week and spent about 2 or 3 hours there. That's a long time for a DC to spend at the school as one prospect they've offered. That tells you how much he thinks about Israel Hammond. I think they're in the battles. I think they got some battles with Ohio State coming up on D lineman out west. I think they're battling Miami with Javarius Garor, and that's Jason Taylor, a Hall of Famer. They're battling there, which tells you how much Miami thinks of Garor. So I think John Meredith, I think Texas still a favorite. He visits A&M a week from now. Next weekend. So I think there's some big things that are going to happen coming up here the first part of June. Then I think there'll be some more extended battles out until July, early August when guys announce their decisions. I like where Texas is at, but you still have to close in the NIL day and age. And they're also slotting guys, I think, right now. And where they slot guys in their mind may not be where another school slots guys, and that could very well decide some recruitments. And that's something they're all kind of, as a staff, I think, dealing with and planning for right now.
Okay. All right. Good stuff. Thank you for the question, Doug. Also, how about this one from Yes, OU Sucks Again? It says, "Rod, Jerry, don't you think with everyone being offended at Sark, isn't this the perfect year to win the Natty? We can only dream of the celebration that would be." I have not seen Sark this outspoken. We've not seen him call out schools and programs individually. I would say he's always been outspoken about certain things, right? But he has not necessarily called out schools and made comments that are intentionally salacious. And like he even said he kind of backpedaled on his basket weaving comment and said he should have said macroeconomics. He didn't mean to say that they take his BS classes.
Right.
He meant to say like they don't have to take the workload that the Texas guys get. So he should have said macroeconomics, but he knew what he was saying. All right, smart. He's a smart guy. So he knows he's gassing up them comments a little bit. Like even when talking about Tech, and it was fine if he wanted to criticize the schedule, but throwing in the 2s and the 3s, come on now. That's
yeah.
That's
I like that he's speaking out about issues in college athletics around that too, and maybe first, and then gets the other stuff second. I look, I'm for all these guys speaking out because something's got to be moving forward here, and I feel like we're in too much of a stall right now. I think all these issues. I hope next week every SEC head coach speaks on the issues on their mind with college athletics right now, football and basketball. I hope they all do. Even if Will Wade says, my roster's great, that's what I'm allowed to do if I can get injunctions. I just hope they speak about it. Let's keep the conversation going and moving it forward and I know it's going to be a long fight, but I like that Sark's speaking his mind on issues right now.
Is another theory, because I know one of the theories is, he's very confident in his team. One of the other theories could be he's just frustrated because all the different, you said, whether you're talking about the College Sports Commission, or you're talking about the inability to enforce rules about tampering or the salary cap or whatever. And Texas is they're one of the programs, because there are a few of them, that are kind of at the nexus of all of these issues, right? They all kind of, Texas, I think they all kind of compile on programs like Texas. You have to deal with all of these issues. And maybe at this point, he's just frustrated. So he's speaking his mind because he's like, we're at a breaking point. Like, this is unsustainable for us and for college football. Like Texas, we can't sustain it. If we can't sustain what's going on right now, then nobody can. Because we have all the resources that any program could hope for, and we're complaining because we're telling you it ain't working for us. If it ain't working for us, it ain't working for nobody.
I think the most frustrating thing now, pre-NIL days, obviously, for a lot of colleges were getting players that wanted to transfer, and I'm talking pre-NIL. Guys that wanted to transfer in, how many guys – and look, Notre Dame deals with this more than Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Stanford, any of these schools. How many players, really good players, they had to bypass because they couldn't transfer in the hours?
Yeah.
Now, nobody has it all, right? So Sark says you're crying from a yacht, right? But I'm just saying one of the things I think frustrates some coaches the most is – kid wants to come to their school, really good player. They can't make it work from a transferable hours standpoint. I think that, and I've heard it on the basketball side before at Texas. I think that's the toughest thing, and I'm not meaning with this staff, but I think that's the toughest thing. Notre Dame really has to deal with that in the portal, so it's not just a Texas thing. There's a few schools that do. But I think that's the one that frustrates guys the most is there's a really good player out there, and that kid wants to come to your school, but you can't get it done from a transfer standpoint. Not because of talent, not because of NIL. And that's what you sign up for, but it doesn't mean it's not frustrating.
Isn't that like the school, though, and not necessarily? Yeah. That's
it's what they sign up for. You're making 10, 11. I mean, Marcus Freeman, Sark, they're making great money.
And that's why Sark – I agree with you, Jerry. And that's why he keeps preaching about his guys got to go to class and how the Texas degree means something.
Yeah,
he's been preaching about this, guys, over and over, and it's a reason because that's part of his sales pitch. And he knows other universities, they're not even worried about that. That doesn't concern him at all. But for him, he said, hey, man, that's kind of how he's trying to get a discount. He's like, hey, man, Texas degree means something. That should have value to you. And right now it's being devalued by the rest of college football, which does not value education or emphasize it or prioritize it. And he's like, we prioritize it here. And it's like, well, that's just more responsibility on you, coach.
Well, I mean, look, what is being used against, and I don't mind. Look, I don't have a problem with recruiting staffs as a way to recruit against a Notre Dame or a Texas or anybody else that has more kids are going to school in class more. Because one of the things I know that's used is online classes, man. You don't ever have to enter a classroom. It's football only. It's basketball only here. And it's everything's online. That can be very attractive to guys who don't really care about the going to college part of this in semi-pro sports now. So people use it. And I guarantee if I was in their position, I would use it too.
Yeah, now you got to use everything at your advantage. I agree. All right, good stuff there. Let's hit one more question here, and then we'll thank some sponsors. I know we're approaching the end of our live stream. I got one more topic I want to talk about. This Germaine Bishop quote that Sark had too.
Yes.
It to me got me thinking a little bit. So we'll get into that. But first, let's thank our sponsors really quickly. We'll come back and answer some questions. Let's thank our friends over at Hayes City Store. Would you do us a favor, Jerry, and tell the folks out there about our fine friends over at Hayes City Store?
I'm going to change this normal read a little bit. Hayes City Store. First time I ever went there with a good buddy, Jason Watts, of mine who I grew up with, who's on these chats sometimes, Texas season ticket holder in football and basketball. First time he ever got me to meet him at Hayes City Store, he said this place is great. It was one of those special places. Had a great atmosphere, a lot of live music, great game watching. It's scratch-made Texas comfort foods, true. They've got their famous truck stop enchiladas, award-winning chicken fried steak, homemade desserts. All of it's absolutely delicious. All of it's absolutely from scratch. There's also live music 6 nights a week with 50 beer taps, ice cold long necks, and tasty margaritas. There's 13 TVs alone in their ice house, perfect for game days. And they even have brunch served from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. every Sunday. Hayes City Store is also dog friendly and it's kid friendly. They have a tree net for kids. Join the folks out at Hayes City Store and bring your whole crew. For more information, check out the website at hayescitystoretx.com. Hayes City Store, it's uniquely Texas. Not a bad place to go watch the Spurs play Oklahoma City. Go sit, have a couple of pops, have a good dinner, listen to some live music, see if the Spurs can rebound.
Nice. Well, good stuff there. I like that. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Hayes City Store as well. Been going there for years. Actually, my wife used to go on dates to Hayes City Store. Yeah, that's how old I am. And now we take the little one there. So great spot to hang out. Let's thank our other sponsor, our friends over at Garage Beer. One more time, we appreciate Garage Beer. Best way or a great way to start your Friday is with Garage Beer. It is beer flavored beer. Garage Beer is crisp, refreshing, and only 95 calories, folks. You can't get better than that. Comes in the traditional and also they have the lime flavor. I like the lime, but I'm a big fan of the American. Their American lagers, really, really good. And I'll tell you this, they don't really care about bragging about their secret ingredients or their secret brewing technique or anything like that. They just make sure that it's great tasting and it is one of the best light beers that I've had in a long time. 95 calories, crisp, refreshing. Try it for yourself. If you are shopping out, grocery shopping, or you're at your local liquor store, they will have Garage Beer. I guarantee you that. So check it out for yourself. Garage Beer, beer flavored beer. Thank you to our friends at Garage Beer for sponsoring our Friday live stream. All right. I want to talk about this Germaine Bishop comment that Sark made. He revealed at the Touchdown Club in Houston, Jerry, that Germaine Bishop, who was working wide receiver this spring, true freshman, fantastic true freshman, and he is going to be working out with the DBs, though, this summer for summer workouts. He didn't say anything other than that. Just talked about how he's just that talented that they have to give him the opportunity to see what he could do on both sides of the ball. Is this wise? Is this what is the ultimate goal here, you think, for Sark and looking at Germaine Bishop potentially as a two-way player?
Rod, I said this morning, that's what made me sit up in my seat of what Sark said at the press conference portion of that. That I did not expect to hear that. Not that Germaine Bishop isn't that talented. I want to get into your thoughts on that, what that actually entails for a player. And he said, look, he's majoring in wide receiver, but he will work a little bit with DBs this summer. But I didn't expect to hear that now, Rod, before he ever played a college game. I figured that would be something that may happen after a year in college.
Yeah.
And he compared him. He said, look, we've had players like this before, John Ross, Adoree Jackson. He said that I've coached. And Adoree Jackson, we had an Under Armour game when I was ESPN. He was phenomenal. And he said, mentioned Devontae Smith, worked a little bit at DB in the summer at Alabama. But to already start doing that before you ever play a college game, that tells me how much they were impressed with him as a mature senior in high school, now in college football. It's the maturity part. It's not about the athleticism part. It's about, can you handle this? And so he must have picked up the offensive playbook like that. So like Cedric Baxter did, football smart, but then as a 165-pound guy, they also trust his toughness, and he also is super, super competitive. He literally had to check every box for them to put even that possibility on the table before he ever played a college game. So I wanted your thoughts on that. I really sat up. I was like, ooh, that was interesting. I didn't expect that.
I did not either. I'm with you. That kind of shocked me. And Sark has a background with those types of athletes, and he talked about that a little bit too. But I'm with you. I thought, maybe after we've seen him be productive as a player on the field, you would see maybe Texas think about it, or if there was a reason to, like Texas had a need at DB, like, hey man, you got a need at DB. Let's put that guy out there. We can't afford to waste that kind of talent when we're in need of it. They're not really in need of it. Not at like corner where he's going to be playing. So I'm with you. I think the coaches genuinely, and I've said it before, I think he can start at the power level as a DB. He definitely can at wide receiver. I mean, he's a star at wide receiver. I think he started at DB and he's got NFL potential to play at the NFL level at DB. I think when it's all said and done, this season, when the season starts, Sark will snatch him up for offense.
Yes.
But to your point, it's a vote of confidence that this early in his development, they're like, oh yeah, put him over there. Because other guys like a Michael Terry, the conversation has been, hey, let him master something first. And then don't want to think about moving him around potentially to be a weapon. And with this guy, his first few months on campus are like, yeah, let's move him over there. And now because it ain't working out over here, wide receiver, just because we think he's got high ceiling at both spots.
I think it's obvious, Rod, and I think you've always made the comparison. It's obvious if he's walked away from offense tomorrow, he'd be Nathan Vasher on defense.
Oh, yep.
It's obvious that's what he'd be. You compared that, I believe, before. That I think is obvious to us. Just he was the most physical guy on Friday nights. He plays the ball. He's instinctive. He's tough. He's very confident, which you have to be to play that position as Rod was, because you are going to get beat, and you have to have a short memory. But I just thought that was super impressive and about as good a compliment as a freshman that's never played a college game can hear from a coach.
Yeah. I'm with. That's it. Yeah, he's a star. There's no doubt about it. Des
Bryant. Rod, I wanted to hit this. What Jason Watson said is interesting too.
Yeah.
Understanding the CB position in college will make him an even better wide receiver.
No question.
He's going to cover Cam Coleman this summer.
Yep. There's no doubt about it.
Yep.
One of my favorite things to do, like as a player when I was at Texas, was because I had really good friends that played on offense. So we would go to dinner, we'd go hang out, and I would just pick their brain about technique, about wide receivers setting up DBs, about option routes and all this kind of stuff. Like it, and it kind of blew my mind to learn that much about offense. There's no doubt it makes you a better defender to learn how an offensive player thinks. Belichick was big about that, right? Belichick often would have his different defensive players and offensive players switch position rooms at times, because he wanted to learn about the other phases of the game. He himself is Belichick and coached in different phases of the game. So I agree with you on that. There's no doubt it would. Not everybody is skilled enough to be able to do that,
right? To
actually apply it on the field. Germaine Bishop is. Like, I can learn about wide receiver talent, but why be going out there playing wide receiver? In a time to apply that on the field would have probably been a disaster at the college level. But it did help me to learn how a wide receiver thinks, how they're trying to attack DBs, what they're trying to accomplish on every route. That was one of the best quotes I've heard about the wide receiver position, because I know we're getting close to the end of it. So I think it reminded me of this, was a wide receiver, a good wide receiver, a good route runner, is basically trying to keep his route a secret as long as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can do that, keep it a secret from the DBs as long as possible, you'll be a good route runner and a good wide receiver. And it blew my mind. I was like, damn, that's right.
That's why it doesn't have to be the most it doesn't have to be the most explosive player. No. It doesn't have to be the fastest or the quickest guy.
Nope. Keep it a secret. If the DB thinks you're running deep and you're actually running a short intermediate route, you won.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was a brilliant way to simplify the position. That's what great teachers do. But that's something I learned from listening to guys talk offense. And I was like, damn, that's good. So anyway, all right, couple of questions here before we get out of here. Emmanuel, this is a good theory about Sark. And Sark now being a little bit more braggadocious and calling out folks. He says, Jerry and Rod, do you guys think this Sark is a product of getting Muschamp? I think Muschamp is pushing him to get out of his quiet shell and speak up. Damn, that's a good theory. That's a solid theory, Emmanuel. Solid theory.
It is. I think maybe the combination of that and what the whole staff saw from the team this spring. Maybe said, okay, we did a really good job in this whole portal thing this year. This Bo Masco guy had 48 pass breakups in 16 practices or 15 spring practices. Cam Coleman's every bit as good as we thought he'd be, and he's picked up the offense. I think you combine all that, and then the freshmen that came in, they're like, ooh, this Bishop kid's probably even better than we thought. It takes on an Earl Thomas thing. Wow, we knew he was good, but we know he was this good, like type of thing. I think then you have Muschamp, and you're confident in there. You're confident in your staff. I think it all leads to it, and you're confident in Arch. I think it all leads to it. And I think the other thing for me with that is, if not now, when?
Amen to that.
If you can't be confident now, when
you got a Manning at quarterback, you got how many first round picks projected?
4 top 10s, 4 top 15s. I mean, it's like 7 or 8 guys in the top 3 rounds.
Yeah. If you're not gonna have swag now, then when the hell you gonna have it? I agree with that. Talk your ish, sorry. Talk it. All right, Longhorn fans enjoying it. All right, good theory there, Emmanuel. Last one here. Marco says, Rod, did studying for your major class help you develop skills to study in the film room? I'm an education major, so I think education major, it can be applied to the disciplines that you learn. It can be applied to a number of different things. Strangely enough, I do a lot of stats and stuff, and I was terrible at math in school, period. But if I'd have had a teacher that was teaching it like analytics, like sports analytics, I probably would have been an A+ student. And now people are like, man, Robbie, you're really good at math. And I was like, I was terrible at math. I have no idea why football math to me is different than actual regular math, but I can, we can just do it all. So I would say that it's a passion, figuring out a passion for figuring out what your passion is. It makes everything easier.
Hey, Rod, one of the things for the chat, because I don't think I've ever brought this up before, but one of the things I'm into now, if I talk to a recruit, somebody that knows a recruit, and I guarantee you college coaches are doing this too if they're thinking like me. So many of these athletes nowadays are just watching 5 minutes of YouTube on a player. It's what they see on social media, a couple of clips of highlights of a game. One of the questions I'd want to know if I was a college coach, when I brought a guy in for a visit or I was at a school, I call it digging in the ditches, finding out all the info you can. Does this guy does he watch sports? Does he watch just the highlights? Is he on YouTube watching a little bit? When does this guy sit down and watch games from start to finish? Because that would tell me how invested you really are in your sport. Yeah, I think I tend to believe we're seeing less of young athletes actually sit down on a couch and watch a game from start to finish, because they can get the highlights, they can get what they want on a 5-minute YouTube. And everybody does it in this chat. You can go to YouTube and look up Texas-Oklahoma basketball game, and you'll have 13 minutes.
15-minute highlight. Yeah. You're right.
You don't have to watch games anymore. You can TiVo through it, whatever you want. You can get it off social media. How many guys? I want as many guys as I'm recruiting as possible to actually sit down and watch their sport and study the sport. Because guys are so good and so athletic now. They have specialized training now that I think they can fool you. Yeah, I'd want to know who's really a sports studier.
It's a good point. I agree with that, Jared, because I literally remember as a teenager or a young kid, preteen, watching games and watching players who played my position. Like I sit there and I watch Chris Dishman. I'm sitting there and watch Eric Allen. I'm gonna watch Deion Sanders the whole game. I'm just gonna sit there and watch him and watch everything he does. Because back then I couldn't. Now you can just record it, and I mean now you can review it, whatever. You got YouTube. Back then that was the only time I'm gonna catch it. So I got like, all right, let me watch Deion here the whole, and I literally would study their movements, technique, fundamentals, all that. I remember doing that as a kid too. It's a great point, Jerry. I don't know who does that now. I guess you could find it out by just asking them about ball. That's why you got to sit down and interview with them. That's why the interviews are important. I need to sit down and see no ball. Are you just like the attention you get from being a good athlete playing football?
And the other thing, Rod, is if I have a guy come on campus and visit, I'm probably going to sit him down and not go over 5 minutes of film. I'm probably going to go through 30 minutes and see if he stays in contact. Locked in. Because if you can't, then I'm not sure you're my guy.
Yeah.
If you can't keep an attention span, if you're so desensitized to it because of social media and the way you can consume sports nowadays, I'd have a problem with it. I want my guy to be able to sit down. And I think that's why it's so important they put these guys on the board now too.
Mm-hmm. That's important.
How much do you really know?
Mm-hmm.
And if I quiz you, I can tell if you've studied the game or not.
Yeah.
These guys can put athletes in situations where they find out a lot. And I guarantee you that's one of the things I would want to do.
Last story kind of reminds me. I was talking to Adrian Phillips about this, and he tells a story. I believe it's Eric Weddle that may have been his mentor, one of his mentors in the league when he got there. He tells the story about how he was watching film, and they were watching it sped up. Like he was watching it in, they would call it like people call it like pod. Like you got people listen to podcasts really fast or sped up. Yep. A lot of people do that. But he was watching his film like at 2 times the speed. And Adrian Phillips was like, man, I can't understand what's going on. He was like, nah, man, it's how you got to watch film. I only got like 3 hours to watch it. I want to watch 6 hours of film in 3 hours. It's like, boom. Like that's what he's thinking about. So if you can't get a guy that can focus on just watching a football game or film for 30 minutes to an hour, how you gonna get to that level where this dude is watching 3 hours, 2 to 3 hours of film, but watching 4 to 6 hours of it because he's watching it 2 times as fast.
Makes you process it faster too, Rod.
No, that's what he said. And he was like, hey, man, it's crazy. I watched it for a couple of weeks with him, and I started to pick it up. And he said it did. It helped my processing. It sped up my diagnosis on the field too. It was amazing. But that's the kind of level you're dealing with in terms of being a student of the game. I didn't have that little trick, but I would have loved to have that little nugget when I was in the league. I don't know if it made a difference, but hey, it made me better. All right, Jared, good stuff there. Thank you to all of our sponsors. Thank you to Garage Beer. Thank you to our friends over at Prize Picks. Thank you to Hayes City as well.
Upset City. Yeah, that's in Norman too.
Damn.
That's 9 runs. 9 runs in the last 2 innings. Ooh, they were down 9-2. Came back.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Okay. Yeah. All right. There you go.
Oklahoma made 4 errors in that game.
That's why Matthew's a real MVP. We appreciate him always keeping us up to date on everything that's going on.
Matt's always watching softball.
Thanks to all for all the questions, guys. Thanks for the participation. Go check out OwnTexasFootball.com. Remember, $3 for 3 months. That's a special you can get right now. Thank you very much, Matthew. New subscribers only for a limited time right now. You can get the best Texas football content out there, and you can get it for pennies on the dollar. $3 for 3 months. So thank you very much to all of our folks, our sponsors. Thank you to all the folks out there watching and listening. For Jerry and for Matthew, I'm Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers. Until next time, look at horns.
Y'all have a great weekend. We'll talk to you Sunday.